places, go to different places in Pittsburgh, coming in and out of the city, travel inspirations, pulp culture. And I am super, super stoked tonight to bring on J.C. Coakley from Pittsburgh, born and bred in Pittsburgh. J.C. Coakley to the
Welcome.
Cool. Hi.
Oh, this is fun. Okay. Want to just do one of these?
The key is to not touch it. That's why they keep it just where it is.
I touch it.
I touch it too.
I like touching it.
I was checking Twitter. I'm still curious because somebody from Pete and Pete, the Nickelodeon show, just retweeted something.
Pete and Pete?
And my name's involved.
What?
And that's like that's
a high honor.
I have an explanation, but I'm trying to watch it go down. But now I have to do my job.
Oh God! Out of everything, out of all the accolades, I think that.
Oh yeah,
that's like Clarissa Explains It All. Just calls you.
Oh yeah.
You're like, what?
I worked with them on a project in San Francisco years ago, 6 or 7 years ago. Mike Morona and Pete, the little redhead guy. And they were awesome. He's like in a punk rock band. Anyway, stayed in touch because that's what the internet does.
Yeah, it does. You can't hide from anybody anymore.
Allows you to
even
connect.
the people you want to hide from.
I don't ever want to hide. I want everyone to just be out and about.
You want it all out there.
I want it all out there.
Everything.
Why not?
Throw it.
Pete and Pete.
Well, you're from the Rocks.
I'm from McKees Rocks.
You are from the Rocks. I'm in Crafton now.
Oh, good for you.
I'm a Mooney. Yes,
Paul
originally.
Mooney?
No, like a Moon Township Mooney.
Oh, that's what they call them?
Yeah.
Mooney?
That's what I call them.
I only remember the boys in Moon Township being attractive but couldn't read that well.
That is entirely accurate.
Is that accurate enough?
Yes. You either had to go 3 grades below you or nothing above. Like nothing above.
3 grades below you or
and it didn't matter.
Above.
That's what I did. I went 3 grades below me.
That's so funny.
I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah, I went nothing because I was like, get me out of here.
Talk to me about your transition into Hollywood life. So you were born, you were raised in McKees Rocks. You wanted to get into comedy. And you've been seen on Key and Peele, you were on Chelsea Lately. I mean, these are huge things. What was the transitional phase of this?
So
walk me through it.
Yeah, I mean, it came from the Rocks because everyone in Pittsburgh growing up in the Rocks, it's a shifty place.
Is that on a T-shirt somewhere? It came from the Rocks.
Place, and the good thing about it was I was a shifty kid, and I think that and I had a good kind of base around me to be like a bad kid, but I was also very, very attuned to how a joke worked very early on because of my family, and I think that happens a lot. The comedy in between your family and the way they share dialogue. I watched it a lot as a kid, and I was really curious how a joke worked, and then I went to school at University of Central Florida for a pristine education, like you do.
What did you study?
What did I study, or what's on my resume that I studied?
Well, actually, both. I'm really interested because I feel like we are around the same age.
Okay.
And when that happened, there was only a couple different avenues you could go into.
Right.
It was like communications, marketing.
Yeah. If you name it, I'll be pressed.
Throw a language in there.
I was radio and television broadcasting.
I was just about to say that. That was like on the cusp of being like the coolest thing.
Oh, I mean, at the time I was, there was
like nothing else. Now there's yoga instruction. I want to go back.
But, there were those things, they only had like 1 or 2 classes, and our minds weren't expanded and awoken enough to go for that. I was just immediately thinking, like, if I get my voice on the air, I'll be out of this sleepy old town. But now
that doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. But I was a Howard Stern fan, like we all were, and I think that kind of idea, I was interested in watching it. But then it shifted. I think midway through college, I started to go to clubs a lot more. The improv club that was in downtown Orlando. And I started to go to mics, but I didn't really understand what I was doing, and I didn't care to learn it. I just knew that I listened to records of comedy. That was before a stand-up special is directly at your fingertips. I had to imagine what a stand-up special would look like and how it would feel. I always thought it was, millions of people all the time, and sometimes the best gigs are like 30 seaters.
Yeah.
Very
This is like
intimate
Mrs.
venue.
Maisel.
Well, yes, I was Mrs. Maisel before they stole my
inspiration.
life.
So what was your first stand-up gig?
The first one I got paid, or the first one I've ever done?
The first one you've ever done.
The first one I would say that I ever done that classified as a show would be in the Student Union of the University of Central Florida. There was a stand-up comedian competition going at Big Wang's, the local wing shop.
Big Wangs. Not wings.
Big Wang's.
Wang.
And so, wait, I think I named it wrong. It's not Big Wangs. It's it's something like Wingadings. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Pittsburgh probably has it.
Me. Yeah, Pittsburgh probably has it.
Probably has this.
And there was a competition, and it was already going, and it was these college kids going up, and I asked if I can go on, and they were like, "We'll put you in as an alternate," and I was like, "You got it!" And I ran to the bathroom, and I jotted down a couple of jokes that I remember today. It was about Miller Lite commercials and Mandy Moore.
Oh,
That was my first set I ever
that's
did.
amazing.
Which would sell today, to
Yeah,
be
I
honest with
actually
you.
think that would be back in.
So prolific and profound as you could imagine. And then from there, God, I don't even want to tell you this, but this is so funny. I've been telling more people about this.
Tell me.
Because a lot of Pittsburghers know this, but my LA comedy career doesn't really know this too much, but I'm letting it come out because now it was on the cusp right before the internet explosion, but I was on a reality show.
No.
For 13 episodes.
What year is this?
So this was right at my senior year of college. I got cast in a show called Big Man on Campus.
Oh, dear.
And it was a spin-off of The fucking Bachelor.
No, you did not. Is it out there? Can we find it?
So your question is, of course, all of my best friends' questions, like, where is this? Why isn't there enough information about this out there? Why? And it was because it was right when the cusp of DVDs was disappearing and Blu-ray was starting. There was no YouTube yet. I graduated college in 2005. It aired in 2005.
Oh,
YouTube was created in 2006. Don't make me talk timeline.
That's amazing.
So I got cast as at the time I was like, I'm getting on this show because this is my one-way ticket out of here, because I knew I wanted to be in comedy, but I was like, a bachelor, sure. I date and I'd be good at it. And
did you apply for it, or did they find you?
No. So we were the only school in the United States that allowed this show to film there. Out of
awesome.
every
That says a lot.
school in the United States. Think about it. Yale, Princeton, UCF. So they said yes, and so they went through the whole college campus and found
WVU wasn't on.
Yeah, well, they were too drunk to answer the email, probably. The 13 women, vie for the rose or whatever they gave us, some kind of college diploma as a rose, vie for his love and attention. And he was just the drunk sweet guy in the fraternity at college, but a total douchebag. His nickname was Juice.
No.
White
really?
guy, blue eyes. You can do the math.
Oh, God.
And then
frat boys.
One of the 13 people to get cast, and this is not just a meet them one time. This was me going back and then back again and then back again, and now I'm not allowed to tell my friends, and now I'm on camera interview, and now I'm on this, the real world road rules.
What was the duration of this?
I'd say about 3 weeks of casting.
Really?
I'm
well,
going
3
in.
weeks of casting.
And then I get on the show because I sort of acted like I would be a bitch. I was like, you might want to put me on because I will fist fight a bitch. And then when I got there, I was like, I'm just going to be the funny one. And it ruined their plans as a show.
It was good for you, though. That's amazing.
It was perfect because if you look for it now, it says, I was in my pseudonym name now, JC.
Is it Jessie? Did they call you Jessie?
They called me Jessica.
Okay. Oh, well.
Jessica.
We're a nickname type of town.
Yeah, I know. Jessica.
I shorten everybody's name.
Or do they call me Jess? Look, again, 2004. I can't find this tape. I'm relying on your listeners.
Wait, you can't find it?
So
listen, I have researchers out the wazoo.
Yeah.
They probably already found it.
Yeah, okay, good. Please. Is this live?
No.
Okay.
Is this live? No, I don't think so, right?
Okay.
No.
I would love
but
if
if people are listening to this when it releases, John, I'm looking at you.
It's gonna be weeks
because he's totally listening.
So
Find it.
I get on and I get cast, and then I became the funny girl, is what they say, because you know those like the virgin, the angry one, the villain.
Your title was set.
The funny girl. And I was
that's
like,
the best one to be.
if you're gonna be on that show,
Barbara Streisand did it. I mean,
best one to be. And I was smart after that because after I got kicked off, because I obviously the producer's like, you're not being mean, you're not going to kiss this guy, you're wasting our time, because they moved us into a mansion. Like a mansion in Orlando. Let me just clarify that.
Wow.
And then they moved us into like a jacuzzi mansion. It was just nuts.
Do you remember the production company?
Oh, not only did I, but I got an internship out of it.
No.
100%. After I got,
This is amazing.
And I also
I love this story.
Lost my virginity on that set.
Not to The Bachelor.
Not to The Bachelor. Which only makes me cooler. You know who it was? The art director.
Oh,
that's a good one.
That is a good one.
It was consensual. He was great. We went to like 2 movies after and then never spoke again, and now we're friends on Facebook.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Really nice. That's how that works.
And so I ended up becoming friends with the people in the production, and I liked what was going on, and I felt like that was a good call. I went out there, I interviewed for this position. Warner Brothers marketing department.
Excellent.
Excellent place to be.
Yeah.
And that's where I began doing the comedy. And the first, like the moment I got there, I hit the ground running, and I just went right to the Laugh Factory, and also like hustled for a cocktail waitressing job. I mean, this is 13 years ago.
Yeah, that's the most coveted position.
Coveted position. Yeah. And I was there.
Tips.
Yep. So great. It's just, but I met some of my best friends there too. It was like, and I was, in the comedy club when I was watching so many comics go up, and I was there 4 nights, 5 nights a week. And then eventually that turned into me hosting a show.
Oh, this is perfect. So you're getting your practice.
Yep.
You're like in class.
Yep.
And you're making money.
Yeah.
And you're meeting people, because bartenders and cocktail waitresses are therapists for people.
And people, and I worked as a waitress at Permane Brothers, so if anybody's been ready for this their whole lives.
Cap and cheese. Cap and cheese.
What was that? Cap and cheese, no tomato. Shut up, boy.
No egg? No egg on that?
No egg on that?
You're not from Pittsburgh.
What are you talking about, kid? Oh man, I remember.
Oh wow. Well, that is the perfect place to be in. So what you're saying is, if you would have never done the reality TV show.
Hold on. Yeah. No, I meant like, hold on. Let's not say that.
No. Like, if you would have never done the reality TV show, do you feel like you would have gotten to where you are sooner, or like in a different avenue? Could you have seen yourself?
Oh, I think that was like the trampoline catapult into what I wanted. And it wasn't going to be just that. I didn't vie for like that. Although I did like 100.
It sounds like it definitely
it came
you
upon
definitely
me.
opened the karma world up, and we're like, I'm going to meet you, and I'm going to meet you, which is how, in my opinion, good people get to the places that they are meant to get to.
Yep.
Not maybe the place that they want to get to, but you don't. Who really?
I'm turning this so I can look
I'm
at you.
going to swear this. Yeah,
because you're so beautiful right now with this.
So are
speech.
you. Your eyes are killing me. But that's the biggest thing, right? Like we don't all know where we want to get to.
Right.
It's just, I'm going to swear. Yeah, it's the fucking journey.
Yeah, it's the journey.
It's the journey, and then meeting people along the way. You might completely change paths or do something different, which leads me to my next question for you.
Please.
You have had your hands. One of my favorite, I love researching, travel researching, and just getting into the nitty gritty of it. And so when I know
what's
going
out
to
there
talk
about
to, there's so much out there.
Really?
There's
Sick.
a lot. I have so many questions, and this podcast is not long enough for them.
Really? Okay, cool. I'm only turning this display off. So
I want to know how you managed to do all of the different things that you are doing, because they all look like you genuinely love to do them. Like they're all fun for you. Mm-hmm. You're a producer, you're a writer, you're a comic, and I just think that's so cool.
Thank
and
you.
Space Dicks was my favorite.
Oh my God, that makes me so happy.
Yeah. Like that casual sketch.
Thank
gold.
you.
It's
Thank
gold.
you. Oh, did you see the Pittsburgh stuff?
No.
Oh, it's so good. Who saw it? No one saw it. There's only 4 people in here, guys.
Crickets.
So.
There's 100 people in
Yeah.
here. Actually, it doesn't matter.
100
You guys
silent
are
people.
not in our conversation.
No, I did a bit called Yinzers, and it was 8 episodes that didn't launch. They put it into 1. But thank you. That's very kind of you. And I think it came down to you hear a lot of people in the business saying, like, I'm just so tired, I'm working so much, I'm so happy, I'm so tired. I really do believe that, like, I'm not working to the point where I'm tired. Like, I definitely go out and surf and enjoy my life and foodie.
I hate that that's a thing that you can do. Can I just
Right
say that?
outside my door.
I'm just going to say what people in Pittsburgh, I hate that that's
Yeah.
a thing you
Yeah.
can do.
Yeah.
Like, that's not fair. I'm going to go grab a paddle boat.
Yep. Paddleboard.
And get on the rivers.
We have a catamaran.
Like, it
I
just
sail.
doesn't sound the same.
Try and stop me. It's like I just and I bleed the berg because I think that's so nice to have in such a kind of like a desert liberal area too. It's like California is a really cool spot for anything that you want. And as an adult now, I'm seeing social norms kind of change and shift. But when I was a kid growing up, all I had was my eye on the prize. And at the time was money, make your family proud, work really hard. I didn't know how it was going to go. I could have never predicted Netflix and Amazon being something I would have to now work for. So it's like, it's different. It's opening up. And the more that you kind of just say yes, and yes, and yes, and the more opportunity you have. And then I take on what I know I can take on. Because to me, mentally, I like to also, I still like to live.
Yeah. You have to.
And that's, I think, to some people, it's like decompress. And I think it could be balanced too. I think that I'm in a place now where it's starting to become like real career, and the possibility of getting bigger is happening. And I think that's really cool as long as I maintain
your meditation schedule.
Literally, how California is that?
No, it's not California. I mean, seriously,
but I really do like to meditate.
I love it. Sensory deprivation. They're one of my sponsors.
Are they sensory deprivation
Levity.
tanks?
I'm just throwing that in there.
Venice
Levity
Boulevard,
and Squirrel
sensory
Hill.
deprivation.
It's the best place ever.
And also, transcendental meditation. I like to. I like mushrooms.
That.
I mean, anything that's going to take me out of here is great.
Psychedelics. They
but
really are beautiful.
To check back into with myself, because I don't really, and I don't think we do as people right now. We're not kind of following that bad boy narrative anymore. We're like health, self-health.
Self-health is
self-love.
Especially in Pittsburgh, self-health is not a thing.
Number one.
East Coast, it's not. It's few and far between. There's not enough companies that are like, oh, yeah, you know what? A mental health day is real.
Yeah.
And you should do it. Because you know what? You're probably not going to even take it for yourself. You're probably going to go to the dentist, the OBGYN, maybe researching the OBGYN.
Yes.
Like, it's a whole other job.
Sitting still does not exist in Pittsburgh.
No.
Like, even if my grandmama in her wheelchair, she'd still find a way to, like, play baseball. I'm like,
seriously?
You're just way too active.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Right. What's up, brother? Great set.
Yep.
What's up?
Yeah, so that was the journey, and I think too is kind of keeping it in the producing stuff. I learned everything not by being a PA. I learned everything of being talent.
Yeah, how did you merge into production? Because you have produced like Coachella, Bonnaroo,
festivals
like
there,
so many South by Southwest
pop-ups in South by Southwest.
It's just
too.
crazy.
You as independent producers. Working in a comedy club for as long as I did, I can start by saying this. I saw the process firsthand on Sunset Boulevard with Mark Keys before they had the ability to put on 1 or 2 comics a night, and I got to travel around with some of the best. And the one thing I noticed about a comedy club is sometimes I loved it and sometimes I absolutely hated it. And then it became very clear to me that I connect with a different kind of show. And when I went to Edinburgh and I saw the Fringe firsthand and how comedy was very explosive and stage work was very wild and weird and some was very contained, it had, a spectrum that it was going up and down, and it wasn't like the Sunset Boulevard Laugh Factory that was very like, at the time. One-liners, but also it was very male heavy, and it definitely catered to a different crowd that I not mentally didn't want to cater to. I'm just like, if I could build the perfect audience, it'd be like a
My
yoga.
family.
Yeah, a yoga convention. Like
yeah,
very calm,
totally chill.
peaceful people that like have a cocktail. But that's not what you get in stand-up. Sometimes you get people that like want to fight, and I'm like, no.
I love that. I love that because I grew up thinking the same thing, that comedy and stand-up comedy was always the one-liners, certain jokes that I just didn't land with me, and I've always actually secretly wanted to do stand-up comedy because I'm just constantly making my family laugh.
Sure.
So it's like but no one's going to listen to. I don't have a skit set out, but it's not about that, and I'm realizing more and more and more. Much like a music, writer, a lyricist, they're telling stories. They're telling stories from their life, which is always the most funniest things ever.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, puppets and instruments.
Sometimes they land.
Sometimes they land. Sometimes they don't.
Sometimes they don't.
I'm a pretty excitable human being. I'm pretty supportive of the craft of comedy. As long as someone's not a misogynistic son of a bitch, I will always support kind of what's going on upstage. And that makes me not a good art curator, I will imagine. I like a lot of things, so I will want it. But as a producer, I began to produce bills that I would think not just would sell out, but would be interesting to me. And
they have to be. Sort
of curating the viewership, too. Trying to curate the fan base rather than just sprawl it all out. Because, again, it goes with the same method of, I totally get the 50,000 stadium seats, and I understand that. But in today's day and age, I don't know if being famous is exactly what I want. I'd prefer just to, be living well.
Living the best life that you can live. That's what it's about.
And it's what it's about. It's it's like catering to expectations. It's like, it doesn't have to be for the gold. And I say that, and it'll end up happening to me. And I understand that might happen, but I'm okay with it either way. I just want it to be left alone.
You want it to be left alone, and you want it to be, like you said before, something you're interested in. Because how can you possibly put on anything else if you're not interested in it?
It's a perfect example. So I was getting a lot of pop culture jobs. Key and Peele is a great project, incredible.
Are they as funny as we think they are?
Everyone's great and smart and progressive and thoughtful, and that's the thing too. Is I was always a strong feminist growing up in McKee's Rocks because you had to be, but I didn't understand the scope of what my power, my voice had, and that takes time. 13 years in comedy is still peanuts, but it's also enough for me to understand who I am going to present both on stage, in the room, and now continuously. These projects I'm getting to know me as a person. I'm not good at being fake. I cuss really hard. I have psoriasis and Crohn's
we have that
disease.
in common.
I mean, it's you do? Great.
High five.
So but I'm also extraordinarily kind and empathetic, but I don't, I just choose not to meddle. I would rather do with the Gloria Steinem work as a comedian than I would the red carpet at the Oscars. To me, I went through that phase. I get it. I think it's badass, but it's also if I had my choice, it's I think I would roll with them because there's still a lot of cool things going on there. But to me, that's what I get excitable about.
It's the human connection, I think, is what it boils down to.
Yeah,
it's the realness and having a conversation with somebody that's not looking through you.
Yeah. And I'm nice to them, too. Plus. Because, if, say, I win an Academy Award, you guys, it's bound to happen.
Yep, totally happening.
Say it happens.
Called it here.
I'm going to have the time of my life at the Academy Awards. I'm not going to be mean to anybody. I just know that, that in itself is its own drug. And working production, I see people on camera and off camera all the time. And I see the behind the scenes all the time. And I kind of choose to live transparently through it. Which makes me imperfect, but as long as I say that up top, you'll have leveled expectations.
You'll have leveled expectations, but I think that is the way to be for your next project and for someone to find you, because I think we are going through a transitional phase where people genuinely want to work with people that aren't D-bags.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think they're turning away more so being yeah, I know you're famous, and I know you're probably going to make me maybe money, but you suck.
Yeah. And I think that's smart. To me, that's how it should always have been. But we were married to this idea that worshiping bad guys has been the MO for a long time, and it's nice because now
this is a great lead-in, by the way.
Of course,
you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah, I love it. So by all means, lead in.
So this is interesting. I love it. I just love synergy. Sorry, it's funny. It's from a movie. So about a year ago, I watched a documentary called The Keepers.
We'll say it together at the
on
same
Netflix. Yes. Oh yeah. Audience over. Oh yeah. And I went down the wormhole of The Keepers.
God.
And became completely obsessed with it because good Catholic girl, 8 years in school, 8 years Catholic, growing up Catholic, masses twice. God, did we have them every day? I don't even remember. Every Wednesday.
Usually twice.
Like twice.
Friday
it
or
was
Sunday.
so much. And I remember the rumors. I remember a mysterious priest disappearing.
God,
and
my mom just told me about that today.
yeah, right? It's crazy. So The Keepers, it all comes full circle because I've been trying to get my husband to watch it for a year. And I got to interview Gemma.
Oh, okay.
And her episode comes out in mid-September because I do a lead up to Halloween, which is like fear,
Right.
Facing your fears, scary things, ghouls, ghosts, like anything in that wheelhouse of terror and fear. And I was flipping out because I read a lot of your stuff, being an activist, but also all of these things that are coming out in Pittsburgh about these priests. It's just all of the Jenga pieces are falling.
Yeah.
Everything. And even we were in the green room and you mentioned something about the priest that baptized you, and I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to tell her about the Keepers. I can't wait.
Yeah,
I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it for the microphone.
I was baptized at 6 years old at Francis de Sales by Richard Dorsch, the guy who is being asked to step down. And that is my mom is laughing, but I can tell she's upset.
Yeah.
Laughing, but I could tell she's upset, and laughing because, it has always been something we have heard since we were kids, and I was livid. I mean, when that report came out, and I understand that it was, before 2012, 2002, before things began to shift. But I went to St. Malachy's Catholic school.
Oh, yeah.
I carved my names in the pew like a devil woman would.
You revolted.
Yeah, I revolted, and I was confused by it. And they're doing it so you grow up safe,
Yes.
and protected while you're not
exactly
in their
it.
arms. So. I'm really pissed, and I'm pissed that I was baptized. It's like, get off me. I don't want that dirty ass water on my head. That's A. Can a kid have rights? B. Thank you, but I'll pass on this guy's thumb.
Oh man, yeah, and I know, and it's such a touchy subject for people still. But for example, I mean, I'm going to mention it because I have to. I posted something about Gemma and the Keepers and everything in Pittsburgh happening.
I'm going to move this.
And a friend,
Can I touch this?
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Yeah. It said yes. Actually,
It said the guy said yes.
Yeah, you had.
Kevin said yes.
You had its permission.
Yeah, that's way better. Fuck this noise.
Oh, I'm jealous now. Hold on. Yeah. So
why
I can
hurt your
sit
back when you don't have to?
I'm usually just nude in my home recording these, so this is
Loosen
awkward.
up a bit, Marta.
I know. Takes
feels
off
better
the
on my
hat.
back too.
Takes off the hat.
Yeah, he went missing. Richard Dorsch went missing
went
from
missing?
Francis de Sales, and my mom had asked the nun when I was growing up what happened to him. Where did he go? My kids really liked him, and then the diocese didn't have anything to say.
Oh my God! It's all about talking. It's all about being brave enough to talk about it.
Yeah.
So what I was saying before, I posted that thing, and a friend of mine, not even a friend of mine that I went to high school with, her husband, who I never really talked to, we don't have that cyber. He's like, can I call you? And I'm like, hey, this motherfucker's going to want to go into podcasting. I know it.
Hilarious.
Like, teach me how to do a podcast. I'm like, oh my God.
Help us.
Yeah. And so he calls me and he proceeds to tell me, he's like, hey, I just wanted to tell you, I saw that post that you posted, and I wanted to tell you that my wife found out she was molested.
Yeah.
And her brother.
Yeah.
And when they were 8 years old.
Yikes.
And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, out of the blue. And they're having problems with it because the molester is a family member.
Right.
And, there's like business. They're in business together.
Right.
Like a lot of the families in business. And I'm like, what? I'm here for you.
Yeah.
Like,
thank you for
number
speaking
one.
up.
Yeah. Thank you for speaking up. thank you for confiding in me. And I'm here for you. I'm here for her. A, did you tell her you talked to me so that I can reach out to her? And B, what can I do?
Yeah.
Like, what can I do? How can I help?
I think this puts a, Bill Maher will be talking about this for the next couple of years. I mean, his documentary kind of pinged it too. And I have no hatred for religion, for the sheer fact that I think whatever gets you by in a positive way is good for me, is good for you.
It's a belief system.
I do appreciate agnosticism and mushrooms and the idea that whatever, it's just planets, bro. And I'm into that. And my mom keeps telling me I'll come back to God one day, and I think that's cute. And I think we can live amongst each other just fine.
Yes.
The problem I have is when you touch kids, and at that point, now I'm pissed, and now I want all those churches to be homeless shelters until they get their shit together.
Well, it's just such a shame because I know that there's priests out there that are
good,
that are amazing, and
St. Malachy's.
Yeah, right.
I can't say that too soon.
There's just such a mar on it now.
But I also have this point of view, and I've spoken about this on stage, and it's kind of made people laugh, and it goes on the view of the keepers. It's like, you know what? How about we just put everybody out in a field, nuns and the priests, have them just switch uniforms for about 10 years.
Oh, and see what happens?
See what happens. You know, nuns are the priests are the nuns.
Women are generally more empathetic.
And they're most
creatures.
likely not to touch. I'm not saying they will not.
Not saying that. Yeah,
but
that is
I would
not
like
saying,
to. Why don't we gamble with those odds for a hot minute?
See what happens.
See how those odds work.
Roll the dice.
I have a bit of a theory that it might turn out better than what has currently been happening for centuries.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And the keeper, I mean, I feel like the keepers really knocked it wide open, especially.
Yeah. They re-knocked it open.
They re-knocked it open.
Netflix has knocked a lot of things open.
They have.
Say what you want about internet and what, does and does not work for you. It's like, this information has always been out there because of the tools in production, because of the speed in which we can get it to the other side of the planet. People have a reaction time nearly a trillionth of a time that they had in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. So all this stuff going up, yes, of course it was happening, but how were we to know about it? We weren't traveling by there. Now everything's super transparent, extremely quick, and we can fact check. And that's why I like Twitter. As much as you need to balance it, I know about a grassroots story that's happening in Nigeria the moment that it happens. And to me, that's far more fascinating than Maroon 5.
Yes.
At any point.
It's
nothing against them. They're also phenomenal people. But I don't need to know about them.
Great song.
Great songs.
Great
plural.
song.
Plural. Made out with the guitarist, James Valentine. You remember that?
Excellent time.
Greatest day of my life.
No, it's very much the traveling. Yeah, greatest day of my life. Greatest day of my life.
He was so nice to me. Put a glass of water and Advil next to the bed. We didn't hook up, but we kissed. It was funny.
That's nice.
I know. And I was like, ugh.
That's even better because then you wonder. Like if it just sucked, it's like, but then if it's
I
just
don't
a kiss,
wonder.
it's so romantic.
No, he's
really?
like married now too.
Oh, well.
He's fine. I don't wonder. Everything's.
We're good.
There's no wonderment.
There's zero wonderment there. That's not a mark against you.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like what we just talked about too. It's I like the truth of it. I'm not going to not tell. This is about James Valentine now. A James Valentine story of that because I think it's very funny.
Yeah.
And no harm, no foul. I don't live a shit life, so I don't do bad things to people. So I'm not.
You're allowed to
concerned.
You can say it
with backlash of anything.
And honestly, I love this because bringing it back to comedy is the way for people to deal with subjects like this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you can talk about this on stage. You can make it funny, and the moment someone laughs, something loosens in them where it's okay to talk about it. It's like, oh, okay, all right, the elephant's okay, it's here and we can talk about it and it's funny and it's serious, but it allows somebody to just be able to open the conversation.
Yeah, and I do like the idea of I don't need to talk to bachelorette parties at my comedy clubs, but if they're there, I will. But what I still want is I would like people to activate after every show. I'm not quite sure how or what or where, but like I said, with curating the audience, I'm trying to curate, and much like a cult, I guess, is curating. I want to curate. Yeah, I want to perform for other activists and be in the room with other activists, and if I can surround myself with that, with other funny people, because there are so many, that's the kind of career I like to lead. It's two birds, one stone, really.
That's also a balance, because I think if you just surrounded yourself with all the shit all the time, you would just become so weighed down.
Yeah.
Or you would be no fun to hang out with.
Yeah, and I think that's sometimes
whatsoever.
That's sometimes
like,
stand-up comedy.
Sandy isn't coming to dinner. I'm sorry. No, I can't take it anymore.
She renamed herself Standy.
Yes.
Whatever happened to JC? Yeah, I don't know. I had a theory really early on. I think growing up in Pittsburgh too is I can decide who I am and what I am and the friends I want to surround myself with. And I come from a tough background and I've had really tough things happen, but I'm no different than everybody else who's come from a tough background and had tough things happen to them. So with that, I'm good at comedy. I'll channel it in, and in that, I want to be around people that also want to activate, and I'm empathetic. I'm not perfect. You know what I mean?
That's the best thing to be, is empathetic.
Yeah,
I once thought it was a crutch or like a negative thing, because I'm like, oh no, I'm an empath. Like, I feel your shit right now. It's really annoying for me, but
I don't feel their shit.
God,
I have
like,
a block
you're
up.
crying, I'm crying.
No,
that's it. It's over.
You
It's
can thank Megan, my grief therapist, for creating a boundary bubble. I don't feel other people's.
I gotta get one of those.
Yeah. Oh, she can train you into a boundary bubble any day.
I gotta get that number when you're
Listen,
done.
Pittsburgh people don't have boundaries. And I was raised with zero boundaries. I had to create my own boundary bubble for the safety of myself.
I really need one of those, Jesse. I really do.
Yeah,
That's
take
funny.
it. She can teach you all of it. Yeah, I like that kind of stuff, and it's not always going to go my way. I mean, I do understand that. There are people that are really successful that say, shut the hell up, get super, super famous, do those huge stadiums, and then we can, talk shop about this. And I'm like, well, I think I'm just going to try and find the medium. And I'm going to see what I can do as producing my own shows and creating an experience and having a good time and going to these festivals, because I love the live entertainment aspect of it. I find the live moment, to me, because I like being in the moment, is way cooler to me. And that I need to just channel my energy and my work into. So whatever that live moment looks like, it used to just be Drew Carey's Whose Line It Isn't Anyway. But now we can do anything.
Anything. Well, those live moments are, they're kind of marks in your life. We forget about that. They're your diary.
Yeah.
They're your journal entry. It's like, oh, what did I do last Friday? Oh, yeah, I produced Coachella.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm looking at my poor uncle tried to polish my shoes, and he did a
that was nice of him.
Yeah, it was nice of him, but they're worse now.
Ugh, uncle. Sorry.
But he didn't mean to, and he
craft and shoe repair.
That's why he ended it with, you might as well just buy a new pair.
Oh, really? Okay. That's textbook. That's textbook family.
It's textbook oopsie doozies.
Yeah, that's textbook. I feel like that's everything my dad has ever said to me. Tried to fix.
Oopsie doozies.
Just get a new one.
Yeah,
it's fine. It's completely fine. Oh my god. So people getting into stand up. Speaking strictly for myself, what would be something you would tell them if they were scared, nervous, or just general pieces of advice?
Okay, what are you scared of and nervous of?
Oh, me specifically?
Yeah, I need to know the facts first.
I don't know. I think I could do stand up in another town.
Oh, fast. Okay. Well, wherever you think.
Not here.
Sure. You know
I want
too
an
many
alter
people.
ego. I have many alter egos. I want another one.
You can start there. You're going to finish here. Is the advice I'm going to give you.
I hear
So
that all
you
the
can
time.
do, the fear of it is messing up. You're going to do that. The fear of it is bombing. It's going to happen. It's going to happen all throughout the career. And the breath work and the timing and the memory and how much alcohol do I drink? Okay, I'll stop drinking on stage. All right, I can do this with the best of them. Oh God, I'm so nervous. So-and-so's in the room with me. It's like, that is all human stuff. If you can objectively work on that muscle and just keep going and check in with yourself. Do you enjoy it?
Yeah. Oh God.
Because it looks beautiful.
That is
to
an
the outside.
amazing statement that people need to ask themselves all the time.
Yeah, because of course the ego mind is saying, of course we enjoy it. It's a spotlight and a microphone and people. But when you really connect with yourself and your brain, it's, do you enjoy it? And if you are enjoying it, can you continue this path and treat it like it's a doctor's job? Like you
Yes.
plan for the future of it. You don't go flippantly into the room all crazy because you think that's going to work. You're going to be able to do that for 25 years? Gallagher?
Oh, Gallagher.
Love him.
I love that.
So
I
many
loved
watermelons.
Gallagher. We loved Gallagher. I actually want to. Hey, there's my cousin Lou.
Hi, Lou.
I always wanted to treat it almost as therapy. Like in my mind, comedy has always been a type of therapy for me. It's like if you're funny, it's like my self-defense mechanism. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that just kind of morphed my personality as I got older.
Okay.
Especially. But yeah.
I hear that, I've read a book, Eckhart Tolle. I don't know if you guys have ever read the book.
What's Eckhart Tolle?
Yeah, Eckhart Tolle. It's basically like the in the moment kind of book. Learning the different stages of the way my brain operates. It's when you say I think, it's like that's just a statement. Like I think this. You are here. Like you exist. That's just a flippant little passing of thought. If you began to fill that thought with like I'm a dope stand-up comic, and just kept going, much like a muscle.
Yes.
You'll just inherit that thought. And I know that sounds very California.
No, but it's true.
But to me, it's true. It doesn't mean that it's true. To me, that's what I've learned to work with. So I concentrate more on like an engineer solving the problem. I look at stand-up as a solve. To me, it's Scrabble and it's a sentence structure, and I like to go in and dissect it in a way that I know can work, but I also don't use it. Like I'm a quiet person out with my friends because I'm in my own sense of peace. I'm not giving that energy unless I'm being paid.
Yes, I get a lot of that. It's like, what's wrong? I get the what's wrong a lot. Like, what's wrong? Are you okay? You're really quiet tonight. It's like, no, I'm just chilling.
Well, your friends,
awesome.
Your friends are coming from a place of concern, which is sweet. But also,
do you get that?
Is something wrong?
No. It's just like chill, completely chilled, just chilled out. Like you were saying, you're off.
Well, maybe you'll get to a place where you'll surround yourself with friends that understand that about you.
Oh yeah. I have a good amount of them. There's one. He just came from the bathroom.
Amazing.
So.
Family.
He just came from the bathroom.
Great.
So what do you have next on your docket?
You
have your own stand-up special. You're here for the Pittsburgh Comedy Festival.
Yes. I'm going to go tonight. I'll do the gig tonight. I'll do, I know this is going to air in different podcast time, but I'll do Dave Bracey's. Yeah, Dave Bracey's Cranberry show tonight. I'll do both gigs, 8 and 9:30, which is great to go out to Cranberry and see what's going on over there. I'd like to see that part of the town. And then we're taking our family to Kennywood tomorrow, so I'm going to most likely perform on the main stage with or without permission from Kennywood. They don't know that yet.
They really don't know?
But I'm 100% going to do a type 5.
Oh my goodness. No, I think you could get on
They
there.
should be
You're
so
fine.
lucky.
Yeah.
They should be so lucky.
Just tell them.
So that's that. And then I have one more day in town. I'll spend time with my mom at McKees Rocks. She's still there, which is so great. And then I fly back to LA 1 week, back to New York, St. Louis, Missouri. I almost said Louisville. And then there's one more comedy festival that's on the list that I have to go to. And then, pilot season begins. And for me, pilot season is also producing season and writing season. So I'm taking meetings right now with the live events over at NBC Universal because they have this, roster of live events they do all over the world. So going in as a comic producer and performer, I can... bless you, take consultancy fees and retainers from companies like this, if not hired full time. So I'm looking forward to that because it's nice to be prepared. I'd like to do something for the Macy's Day Parade if they would just let me. It's time that they...
Have you asked them?
I'm going to. Like, it
Just
just
ask
needs
him.
to change a little bit.
The best advice I've ever gotten
Tiny
was
bit.
like, the worst someone can say is no.
Oh, yeah.
It's the best goddamn advice I've ever had in my
Yeah,
life.
I don't know quite what my version would be yet. I'm going to have to think of something.
No, you're good. Like, so if
As
you
of
push,
right now, BB guns to all the balloons.
yeah, if you push those high school
Live.
volunteer kids out of the way at Kennywood, like, you will get on that stage.
Kennywood's like only $25 to go to. Do you know how amazing that is?
That's pretty cheap.
Disneyland is $3,000.
What? No, it's not.
Might as well be.
Is it really?
It's expensive. Each kid is like 115. It's something. Look it up. Look it up, cousin. What is his name?
Cousin Louis.
Cousin Louis. Look it up. Cousin Louis. Put your Jack Daniels down. Look it up.
Capicola. Cap and cheese.
Got it.
With the egg.
I got it. I worked at Primanti Brothers. I know my talk.
You know what's up. So, okay. Talk to me about producing shows. And
Live shows or television?
I want to know which one you got into first and which one you like better.
Okay. I think I got into producing live shows in college. I was working in college at a Bennigan's. That's not where I was doing my live shows, but I was working at a Bennigan's. Turkey O'Toole, still to this day.
Are they
delicious.
still around?
They should be. I'm name dropping them now, and they should be our sponsor. Our sponsor. I've taken over.
Did you hear that?
And I was producing like live performances. So I was first directing and producing sketches. My original thought was SNL was going to be my dream job. And then as I've gotten older, it was like different versions of that kind of morphed itself into, I like the idea of producing something like Saturday Night Live, but the idea of it wasn't exactly the content I think my heart was going to.
Okay.
So I dabbled in a couple of things, and I produced comedy shows in LA. By keeping them, you go to bars, you check in with the owners, you see what nights they would need some kind of entertainment, and you hustle and you keep them running. And I have one in East Hollywood that's been going on for 9 years, and I have one in West Hollywood, Venice Beach. It's been going on for 4 years. I've taken them to Miami, to Melbourne International Comedy Festival, to Denmark, Copenhagen. And what you do is you utilize Instagram and Facebook, what I do, and I want to put something together, and I want to curate an event, and I've started to add in different elements now that I think bring value to the experience. You know, like a Cirque du Soleil, but for comedy, is entertaining to me. It's not necessarily going to be a sellout theater, or could it be? You know, could it be 3,000 seats? That's the goal, is to get it kind of in this flip it upside down and change the way stand-up comedy is kind of presented. Because there's nothing worse, and you can value this, like when someone's like going into a place or restaurant and they don't know there's a comedy show.
Oh, God. That's
you know what I
awful.
mean? And they're like they're pissed, and
you're
then
like, I just wanted pasta.
Yeah, I just wanted pasta, and they're just like mad at you, and like maybe you'll get a laugh, but not enough for them to be like, I love my pasta. They're just mad. So, you know, trying to curate it in that way and making it, you know, and integrating music
Find your
too.
audience.
Yeah, I mean, with FYF Fest and those kinds of elements that bring in musicians and different kinds, like avant-garde sword swallowers and like really professional, weird clown work. That is super cool in France and very weird and unique. And I get it. Pittsburgh is not like, I can't wait to go see them clowns.
Oh,
like,
God.
they're not stoked on that.
Oh, God.
But if
Yeah,
you
no.
slowly push it in front of them and try and blend the two rather than kind of separate it, I think that it can work.
It can
it's
work.
cool as hell. They grew up in the 60s.
It can work. It can work.
Psychedelic.
I just went to a burlesque show in New York that blew my mind.
Yeah.
It like blew my mind. It was at the Slipper Room, and it was everything from aerialists to men and women and small people and big,
Yeah.
you know, like, and I was just like, this is incredible. Where did I stumble into? And then
Yeah.
I'm like, and I got to go home now.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to go to like
oh,
a show
man.
like that every night, though. You'd be like overstimulated.
Yeah,
but
it had enough of that 1-2 punch to do that. But
Yeah.
the fact, it felt like such a little family, and the people that were there, the audience that they had, knew what they were getting into.
Yeah.
And they found their audience. So I think, like with you, you're trying to find specific audience for the tastes that
I don't
you
need to
like.
have all of you. Trust me, that's exhausting. I want like the cool ones. I want like the people that like are looking at Noah's Ark and they're like, no thanks.
That didn't happen.
We're not getting on here. We're going to go hang out at a bar, but an oxygen bar, so our skin is hydrated.
An oxygen bar. And a regular bar.
And then through that, I began to get calls about, would you write this? Can you produce this with us? With the pop of like digital video, you didn't have to go to Comedy Central proper. You could go to comedycentral.com. They were just starting to boom. They needed content. They needed things written, but the voice was always in a male's voice. I mean, their demographic for most of their careers was like 18 to 42 male demo or something. So coming up as a stand-up, your push was to get on Comedy Central. But
18 to 80.
Yeah, 18 to
more
infinity.
like that. Yeah.
But you didn't, there wasn't, what there is now are there's so many female-driven comedy sites that are like pushing for that content, pushing to pay you to make that content. That's why like no more taking, like to any performer, don't take no money anymore. Take money. It
be paid. Be paid, guys.
Yeah, no, don't like
it's
steal,
okay.
but take money. And it allows the abundance to kind of roll through, and these cool jobs can pop up, because these jobs, you get them and they're 3 months, they're 6 months, they're 1 month, they're 10 weeks, and then all of a sudden you get one that's 7 years, and that makes or breaks your career. So it's like, that is the fluctuation of it, and that's the journey that is the most important.
I feel like Space Dicks is going to do that.
Well, I have rewrites on it in my brain that I can't even watch it anymore.
Who wrote Space Dicks?
I wrote.
Did you write Space Dicks?
Of course
I was trying to describe it to my husband today, and he was just like, "Wait, what?
Yeah.
Is this real?"
It's a dating app that the mileage tracker goes into outer space. So instead of it being like 1 mile on Tinder and Bumble, or 100 miles,
you can date awesome men from Mars.
Yeah, you can date. I mean, even further, the Andromeda Galaxy, which is another galaxy next to us.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it is cool. I mean, now I look at this stuff that was written in 2016 and executed in 2016, and comedy's very quick now.
Yeah.
And Key and Peele are a perfect example of that. Those cuts are very important, and the way that you make your comedy videos matter. I for a while was doing vlog videos because I was getting a lot of mileage out of it, and they were paying me to do them.
Dear JC?
It was Dear JC, and then there was like Champagne Problems with JC.
I heard the Bush one.
Yeah, the Bush one's great.
The Bush one made me really happy.
Thank you. And I'm young, producing those videos myself and making them, learning how to teach myself how to do Final Cut Pro, and now like 10-year-olds know how to work editing programming.
Oh, I
too.
hate those 10-year-olds.
It's fine. It's like the more
I'm like, don't change my GarageBand. What
hilarious,
happened?
yeah, right. Well, I mean, look, don't
update my computer.
I smoke a joint, and I learn how to do the updates myself. Like, I learn how to edit things myself. I find that stuff really cool. People that say, "Oh, I hate that, I don't have the patience for it to edit stuff," it's like, I used to be that way. And now the fact that I can do it, I can get editing jobs alongside writers. So I'm making myself accessible in that way where it's not too cool for me to be a PA. I want to know what kind of goes on there because I like to talk about it fully. And that's the business that I'm in, and it's shifting. Like, it's forever shifting. So you don't want to
pigeonhole yourself into one thing.
Yeah, I mean, also
that's the thing. I get so mad at people that they're like, I would never want to be a jack of all trades. I know. I want to be a jack of all trades.
I'm so tired of those phrases.
That's like my ultimate goal, is to be a jack of all trades.
Yeah, they say master of none. I mean,
I don't
they
believe
say a lot of things, and look where it got them. You know what I mean? Look where it got them. And I think we're changing the script now. I just said this to my friend today. I was like, I love that I idolize a porn star more than I do the president right now.
It's got to be Stormy Daniels.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I idolize her right now. And I always have had my hand in the sex industry because my experience with it was very open and honest, and I did not have shame growing up in my household.
Yeah. You can talk about your periods.
Yeah, it was
let's talk about it. What happened?
It wasn't weird, but I always had grown up with the idea that like being paid for sex was bad, and that if you had your breasts out, it was your fault, and it was if your dress was too short, it was your fault, and the nuns would slap you with a paddle if your dress your ankle showed. I don't even know. And as you grow up, you realize all of that programming, that societal pressure, that like this is how women are supposed to be, and this is what happens when you don't follow the rules, it's your fault, is shifting and breaking apart, and we're taking a step back and like holding on to each other's hands.
Yeah, we're in therapy.
Yeah, we're kind of like
we're trying to undo what was done.
Yeah,
and we're like, oh God. And you have to think about this. In our generation, I feel like we're still young enough to accept the fact that we can get help for it and like fix it if we're willing to.
Yeah, the therapy generation.
I empathize so much with
My
older
parents.
women,
I
like my
know.
parents. Like I'm like, oh man.
I know my mom's going to therapy now, and I'm like,
Oh, good for
over
her,
the
man, because that is a
moon.
taboo subject in
I'm
my family.
over. Well, it's like a different
like,
version of therapy. It's like grief therapy, which is like still just as,
yeah,
if
yeah,
not
because
more important.
I heard about your sister. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that is something.
That's still raw. That's like 2 years ago.
2.5 years. My sister died of an accidental heroin overdose. Her heart stopped, and instead of calling the police, the addict
Those
she was
friends,
with left her there.
I kind of wanted to jump through the YouTube video.
I know.
And give you a big old hug. It's like, oh no.
You know, I feel this is very therapeutic for me coming back home always, and especially to work. It's really and it's an honor, but it also I'm not alone, and this opiate epidemic is real, and it hits home very quickly. And now that I'm learning about it and talking to survivors and addicts, and there's a lot of comedians too. I mean, there's so many. Russell Brand has a beautiful piece on it. And this is not the end drug. This isn't going to be. There's going to be something else that gets created and more created. This is just how it is going to be. So we, as a community of humans, have a chance to talk about it and kind of dodge the bullets if we discuss it. If you don't discuss it, Catholic Church,
that's what happens.
This is what happens,
and people die. And
yeah, and who knows what happens after you die? I think she's like bouncing on different planets and having the time of her life. Yeah,
she's in Space Dicks.
Yeah, my mom is like
she had the best version of Space Dicks.
I wrote it for her, so she would make it there.
Oh really?
No, I mean
I was like, oh. I'm like, because that's the best sister ever.
She would probably love it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best sister ever.
Yeah, I mean, it's my mom goes through the grief in a different way too, and it is. Patton Oswalt had gone through something similar right around the time that I did, and I remember being just kind of around Tig when it happened, and Tig was a huge part of getting me back kind of on stage again, because you don't really want to talk, and if you do want to talk, you don't want to talk about anything but this.
Yeah.
And that's not what paying customers are there for.
Yeah.
That's what therapy is there for. And so to find the balance and be able to talk about it on stage now where it's humorous yet touching yet enough, it's like I gave that piece to myself. I'll pause it for now. And when I'm ready to revisit it, I can, but it doesn't make or break me. It just is something that now I'm going to discuss, and then
you're dealing with it. That's your way of dealing with it.
Yeah, I mean,
and communicating to your audience, because it is your audience. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, now I have people that have tried heroin as fans, and I guess that I'll take it. I'll take it. Howard Stern said it best. He's like, I like the freaks. And those are the cool ones. And that's my calling, I think, as a comic, too, is when I say freaks, it's not freak of nature and off. It's the people that don't have it 100% perfect come hang out with me.
That is perfect. I don't know if my cousin's still here, but he gave me like one of the best lines ever to describe him and me. He's like, we like the broken toys.
Yeah, that's cute.
You know what I mean? He's like, we like the broken toys.
Listen,
I'm like, I do like the broken toys.
I would like to marry the together toy, but I'll take
they
broken toy.
Nobody's ever that together.
Let me say
like,
plural.
No one.
I would like to marry a lot of broken
toys
and together toys. Yeah. Don't get me started on marriage. I'm over it.
It's a whole thing.
I don't know how we can do it. Here's my thing. If you're in it, great. I see that you have a ring on your finger.
I do.
You're gonna be great.
I wear it some days I don't.
It is.
That's not indication of anything.
I think
my husband's listening to this. He's like, "What the fuck?"
Is he? No, of course, not an indication of anything. If you're married, stick with it. I prefer you to be a badass on it and not be like, and I'm not even political, but like Rudy Giuliani saying like, I listen to women that are respectful and have good jobs and provide for them. I don't listen to women that get paid to listen for sex. It's like, you cheated on your wife after you took vows.
I love that.
Sit down, you spit pocket.
I love that. It's like, oh God.
You are such a spit
You're
pocket.
A hypocritical
like, you hypocritical
asshole.
Spit pocket human. It's like,
spit pocket is great.
Yeah, it's weird.
Did you coin that?
Yeah, I'm coining it now.
Spit pockets,
but it's
so
just like,
good.
Don't come at people with your flaws and try to dictate who they are. It's like, don't. We are all living in a glass house. It's like, just be cool. So learning that kind of stuff now has made me, I think, a better person and comic. And then there's just going to be assholes, pure dicks. I mean, anti-Semites.
It's either someone's just a pure dick, or there's people that are really good at acting like they are nice.
Well, see,
I'm really good at finding them now because you trust your gut.
You know,
you gotta trust your goddamn gut, people.
But like I say, if you have your boundary bubble,
Oh yeah, I gotta get one of those.
if you
We
have
talked
your
about that.
boundary bubble and like you're connected and you are you and you understand yourself, that kind of people, you don't have to let them in your house. You don't have to meet them for coffee. You don't have to see you. It just is,
slides.
and it's not offensive. It just is.
No, it just
And it's
they
like,
probably did. Probably wasn't even a bleep on their day.
That's what I'm
but
saying.
But it's the funny things that have you affected and
yeah. I mean, if you can do your best and not you generalize you and not being
definitely
affected,
talking to me.
not being affected by the people that are saying things or whatever. It's like the only true fact is what you tell yourself. That's how Donald Trump operates.
Oh yeah.
You should too. Pick it up.
Honestly, he's probably just in his bubble. Has to just be so happy.
I mean, that's another thing. Like
I
I don't even think he's a bad guy. I think he's just like accidentally turning into a bad guy.
He totally had
Like
no
before his
intention.
eyes.
He had
No,
no intention
it
of being
reminds me of
president.
like
He's
a
like,
villain.
oh shit.
Reminds me like a villain in Spider-Man that's like a good scientist guy, but like poison falls on his leg and he becomes a bad guy and he's like doesn't know how to handle it well. Do you know what I mean?
I just took a big drink of water before you said that.
I just feel like he
'Cause it's
doesn't
so
mean to
true.
do this and he's just
And
so
snotted
bad.
everywhere. Yeah, that is.
I've talked to some bad people before. Like in the activist world, there are some bad people. Some like
Oh yeah, they're pure evil.
pure evil that are just like human bodies to them are just a count, and it is just wild
They're
to
a
see this
step
glaze
away
over.
from serial killers.
And yeah, and that
Just turn into
Not even.
it
They probably-
so we can catch you.
they are serial killers because they're kidnapping people. But like that's I don't know. We don't need to end on that.
Sorry,
Obviously,
we're not going to end on that. We're going to end on joyous things like the weather in Pittsburgh this week.
Is it going to be nice?
Amazing. No, it's just amazing. Listen,
I'm freezing.
Jesse. No, this is glorious. I know. I hate being cold.
Yeah.
It's just notorious. Everybody knows. Marta, just don't put air conditioning around her. She likes to live in a. Yeah, you walked in. I knew we were going to be fast friends. You're like, why is it so cold in here? I'm like,
Freezing everywhere I
yes,
go.
I was just going to ask that, but I was scared to.
I shut it off.
I know, you're like,
I was like,
bloop. I'm like, she's my hero. She's my hero. But no, it's just I completely lost my train of thought about talking about AC
weather. How nice it is.
Oh, the weather in Pittsburgh. Yeah, it's beautiful right now.
Yeah.
We're gonna end on the weather in Pittsburgh being beautiful. But you're from LA, and it's like beautiful all the time.
It
You're
is
there.
It's a bit on fire right now. It's like it's definitely a bit on fire.
Yeah, it's definitely got
little hot.
Vapes are preferred.
Yeah, vapes are preferred.
Vapes,
no
that's
matches.
the only reason vapes were invented.
You know, it's a bummer because why I like coming back here is because I love summer rain. It's really beautiful to have summer rain and green and California is a
Jumanji.
desert land. You know, it's a desert and we have trees that have been stolen from Hawaii, shipped over, palm trees, not indigenous to California, fun fact. And that's the idea of like Beverly Hills, like palm trees.
yeah.
And it's like, how about give me an
Pittsburgh,
oak tree so I have some
yeah.
shade so the shit doesn't light the fuck on fire anymore.
That's smart. That's smart. You could
They're
just take
getting it.
some of Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is just a big cold Jumanji.
I love it.
I told Phil like Pittsburgh has the biggest bush I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it's like because it's just trying to overtake you.
Yeah.
If you let Pittsburgh go for 3 months,
Even
if you just-
downtown?
I think. Oh yeah, I think that shit would be gone.
Really?
I think it would be like.
It's like a vine.
It is. It really is. I can't even keep track of my weeds in my yard.
Yeah.
And I love weeding. I'm like, what the fuck?
Meanwhile,
You
I'm
grew
gonna-
overnight.
I'm gonna totally tweet you a picture of my like super dry cactus, and you're gonna be like, "Oh, I get it."
I'll help you. It's
yeah.
okay.
I'm into horticulture. I like plants. I like
love-
having them now.
I love my garden.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Don't get me started. It's like
I saw you like heirloom tomatoes.
I know my podcast Instagram should be about my podcast, but really it's like tomatoes.
That's
it's
fine.
like all the things that I want to talk about. It's like tomatoes and this drink I just had.
Great.
And Sunday thoughts, like bathroom toilet
This
thoughts.
drink I just
only good
had.
ones. Yeah, it's amazing.
That's
But
great.
I love what you're doing. I say keep it up. The equality now. We didn't even get to talk about the equality now.
That's fine. They know I talk about it all the time.
All right.
They retweet me. They get so excited when I talk. They're the most. It's like Jane Fonda retweeting me, and I'm like, "You're the."
It probably is Jane.
It literally
Fonda
is
retweeting you.
Jane Fonda, and she's like, "Retweet."
She was. I mean,
she's
she
the
was
shit.
like I feel like she was the main activist in Hollywood for her day.
I've
like
learned
she
so
just like
much.
grabbed the bull by the horn. She was doing the water act.
Yeah.
And it's like,
She doesn't
what?
stop. She has 3 different assistants that are powerhouses when it comes to it. That's what she cares about. And she's also a phenomenal actress still. And her and I go to the same hair salon. So it's like really cute that we get to see each other as often as we do. But it's also kind of surreal because like her, I envy activism. So it's really cool because there's not really a lot of ego in that.
No, you're doing it for something else.
Yeah.
And I feel like with what she does and what you do, and when you're in the limelight, you have to do something like that to just stay focused
Yeah.
and feel better inside, because
Yeah.
you're giving so much out that you have to give. And it's kind of like a weird pull and tug with that, that you're giving but you're actually getting from it. And most of the time you're just giving.
Yin and the yang.
Yeah.
You know, that's what life is.
The balance.
It's the balance. There is no one way or the other. It just is the balance, and then a volcano gets you.
And then that's it. And you're
that's
okay.
it.
You're all right. But you done good.
Because I think
You done
whatever's
good,
next
kid.
is going to be pretty good.
I don't know. Well, I'm pretty excited about whatever's next for you.
Thank you so
Guys,
much.
You can find JC Coakley, Jesse, at www.jccoakley.com and
I'm
at
only
Twitter
letting
at
you do
JC
that
Coakley.
because this is my hometown. I would have killed anybody else.
Oh, why?
He's getting ready. Cousin Lou's ready to clap.
He's like, oh! Oh my God. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank
This
you.
was awesome. I'm glad we got to do this.
Me too.
And guys, you can find me on martaonthemove.com, Twitter at I can't find Marta. Keep it moving, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
Peace. That was super fun. We gotta hang. That's fun.
How much time do I have for this?
So much